get started talking about the new season, I have to say happy belated birthday. You just had a big birthday, didn't you?
Thank you, 31.
Did you do anything fun?
Well, I have a new daughter, so I got to spend some amazing family time with her, and it's just the very best thing. I love my child.
That's what you do.
It's the greatest gift.
It really is the greatest. It's the greatest birthday present.
Absolutely.
I 100% agree. Okay, let's talk about this season of When Calls the Heart. Dr. Carson and Faith. Okay, you guys have some big decisions to make, some big life decisions that are happening this season. You want to tell us about them?
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, it's a big transition because Carson discovers that you have all this training in medical school, and she's this close to qualifying to actually getting the proper training to be a doctor. And I could supervise. So it's like, it's a really conflicted time because it's a dream of Faith's, and I want to support her dream, but we're just now open about our relationship. So it's like a lot of struggle for Carson I want to keep her close, but I don't want to hold her back.
Right, so she would have to go away for a year.
Yes.
At least.
Yes.
Yeah, a year, and then, yes. And then the whole dynamic changes because she'll be a doctor in training under me for a couple of years.
They're both very selfless characters. You have a nurse and a doctor, two professions that are so respectable, and they always put others before themselves.
Right.
And now they're in a situation where they really have to put themselves first, and they have to honor their own dreams and destinies, but they also have to kind of pay attention to their relationship and figure out where they are.
And also, how wonderful for this to be in the storyline to talk about a woman back then and that era actually having the opportunity to go to medical school. That alone is a huge deal.
Huge deal. Absolutely.
It is. It's really cool. I love that they did that. It's creative, and there's the women of Hope Valley are so strong and just leaders, and they're very inspirational. I love how amazingly the women are written on our show.
Well, we're going to give the Hearties a little clip of the show where Faith is really discussing her excitement about the possibility of going to med school and all these things that lie ahead for her. Take a look.
Thank you.
Scalpel doctor.
Very funny.
You should start getting used to that.
Carson, I haven't even spoken to the medical school yet.
But you have to admit, it's pretty exciting.
Oh, it's all I've been thinking about. I had this dream last night. It's the one where you're taking an exam for a class that you've never been to before. Have you had one like that?
Nope.
I have them all the time in nursing school. I think it's a good sign.
Very sweet together.
I love that scene. My cheeks in that scene. I love that
my
scene.
gosh, she looked adorable. Well, speaking of medical school, you happen to be receiving quite a bit of medical attention during the entire season. That's what you're alluding to, those cheeks, because you were pregnant the whole time you were shooting.
I was in my 3rd trimester for pretty much the entire season, which was wild.
I know a lot of people who have been pregnant on set who are actors. For us, you're allowed to be. It doesn't, they don't have to hide it. But a lot of times when you have a character, they have to hide the pregnancy. And that can be tricky. How did they manage to do that? Because the whole time you were pregnant.
There are a lot of creative props that get positioned very strategically. There were a lot of blankets. I think during the Christmas special, we had a lot of Christmas ornaments that were strategically placed. But no, I'm so lucky to be able to be an actress and be pregnant on this show. I was so supported by all the cast. And there was a lot of creativity that was involved, including a body double.
Yes.
Really?
We had this amazingly choreographed scene where we're in the infirmary and we're talking about these things, and Martin Wood, our director, had us walking back and forth. But when we're doing this, the cameras are in close-up, it's Andrea, and then she turns and starts walking, and I have to catch up to her body double because they shoot from behind, and then it's just like this dance. It's about a 2.5-minute scene. It's all choreographed, and we had to do it over and over and over.
Yeah.
And
I would have to back myself out, and the body double would slip in, and then she would slip out, and I would slip back in.
And so I'm doing lines with the body double, and
Yes,
she's over
or
there
Paul.
sometimes, or you sometimes.
Yeah.
And Andrea was such a trooper, working those long hours, never complaining, on her feet.
I mean, seriously.
Yep, she was a trooper.
Very sweet. Well, I had a nice co-star who would always run and get me a tea or a chair if need be, so I appreciated that.
So good together. He knows a thing or two about having a baby. He knows his baby's not so baby anymore.
That's
but
right.
before we get to him, I mean, he's just had a first. Let's talk about your beautiful Viola. I know that her name is a special family name.
It is. It's actually my great-grandmother's name. And Yeah, that's her. That was day one when she was born. When I see that picture, it just makes me emotional. But yeah, her name is Viola. My great-grandmother actually left me a lot of her jewelry, including this locket that I'm wearing. So I grew up wearing this, and it has Viola on the back. And when my husband and I started dating years and years ago, I actually put a photo of us inside of the locket. So it's just something I've always worn, I've always had. And when we were thinking about names, we liked Violet, but it's quite common. And then I was like, oh, Viola's a family name. And we both fell in love, and that was it.
Gosh, how old is she now?
She is 10 weeks.
Oh gosh, she's so cute. I love babies and the smell of them.
I know, me too.
Well, Paul, you're a little far off from newborns.
Yes.
But like I said, your son just had a first. He just got his license. How are you feeling about that?
Better than I expected. Like he's the type of kid that the more responsibility you give him, the better he is. Like he can take it. And I don't know. Like I don't know how I was allowed to drive at 16.
I don't know how any of us were allowed to drive at
Fair.
16. I feel like we should get our license maybe at 19.
I don't know, but the freedom that he experiences, and like he's really helpful with it, and he's like got his own business already because of his car.
Uber?
No, you can't. Not yet. No, he's doing like sneaker reselling, like buying sneakers and then
so
reselling them. Like he's got he's a little entrepreneur, and he's got a whip to get around in and pick up those shoes.
And he's a great driver.
He's
He's
fantastic.
a very responsible kid.
That is so, I'm glad to hear it. And I bet you're glad to hear that as well.
I am, yeah. No, Oliver's great. But that's a big milestone to know your child's out there and you see people on their phones and they're like, wait, my son's out in that world where people are texting and driving. So it's just good he didn't want to get on a motorcycle.
All right, well, in the meantime, before he gets that motorcycle, we have, here at Home and Family, we wanted to give you guys a little something. One for the newborn and one for the new driver. No, it's not a blanket.
Oh, that is a blanket.
Right here.
Oh, my goodness.
Viola.
Oh.
I can't.
This.
This is so sweet.
Future Hallmark movie
so
star.
Cute.
And this.
That won't fit Oliver.
There you go. That's
Oh.
for your son. He needs that in the back of his car.
There's a car kit.
Oh, that's
preparedness
amazing.
kit.
That is-
Yeah.
He doesn't have one.
There you go.
Okay, that.
There's flares, there's jumper cables, all kinds of things in there.
I am hard to get a gift for. That is awesome.
It's for your son, not you. But I think,
Oh, did I miss that?
I think
This
we
is for
can get
Oliver?
one for you as well. I know where to get them.
Parent gifts.
Thank you guys so much, and congratulations
you.
on the season and on the milestones.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And this is your first time, it won't be your last. We can't wait to see you again. You can watch Andrea and Paul on When Calls the Heart this Sunday at 8 p.m. right here on Hallmark Channel. Don't miss it.